Hey guys, Ellie Ray here. Have you ever gone to Dollar Tree and been frustrated because you can't find anything good? Or gone home with items you just can't use? Well, today I'm going to be giving you 12 tips for the next time you shop at Dollar Tree. Tip number 1 is watch Dollar Tree hauls. I constantly go on YouTube and I watch Dollar Tree hauls to get a feel of what's out there. It's important to do this because then you're able to write a wish list. I do this all the time. Whenever I go to the store, I look at my wish list items and see if I can find those things. Whenever you watch your hauls, you're able to see if there's anything out there that you may need, and you're able to see things that you didn't know Dollar Tree had. Tip number 2 is check your shipment dates. Now, by doing this, you can either call Dollar Tree or the next time you go, ask them when they receive their shipments. Now, one thing that I did notice is that sometimes they don't unload their shipments until the next day. So what you can do is when you go to your Dollar Tree on your shipment days, you can check the boxes. If they have the boxes out, you can look at the pictures in front of the boxes, or you can go through them and see if it's something that you're looking for or that you need. Tip number 3 is shop around. Now, one thing that you may or may not know is that you may not get the same items for every single Dollar Tree. So one Dollar Tree may get something really awesome and your other Dollar Tree will not. So one thing that I do recommend is make sure you go to different Dollar Trees. In my area, I do have several Dollar Trees, so I'm able to go to 2 or 3 different ones. So look around, you can go on Google search and see the Dollar Trees, what Dollar Trees are near you, or you can go on the Dollar Tree website and see how many Dollar Trees are near you. So that is tip number 3. Tip number 4 is set a budget. Now, as you may know, everything at Dollar Tree only costs $1. So what happens is that you may get into a shopping spree or go into a shopping spree and just grab everything and just say, oh, it's just $1. But things add up, especially if you're going for something and then you add in 10 to 20 different items, which you can add 20 items if you get more than one. You can add in so many things, and if you shop several times a week, then that can add up. So set a budget. That's what I normally do. I normally tell myself before I go in, okay, I'm only gonna shop, or I'm only gonna pay or buy 2 extra things off my list, or 3 or 5 or whatever. You can take cash and only take enough for your trip and just give you a few extra dollars for your splurge items, but that's really, really, really important, so that way you don't buy too much. Tip number 5 is consistency. That's really, really important that you go consistently. Now, sometimes I won't go for a certain amount of time and then I'll watch Dollar Tree hauls and I see them haul all these great things, and then I go maybe 2 weeks later and they don't have them. And then I get really, really frustrated because they don't have what I've been looking for. Well, what happens is that other people watch Dollar Tree hauls, or other people will find something the day of the shipment and they'll take everything. So it's important to go on the shipment days, but also to be consistent. You may want to go 1 to 2 times a week. Now that might seem a little too much, but if you're really wanting to get your good items or the items on your wish list, then you do have to go consistently. I normally go 2 to 3 times a week, but that's because I love going to Dollar Tree. Tip number 6 is shop early for seasonal items. So if you're looking for some great seasonal items or Christmas things or whatever the season that you're in, make sure that you go at least a month in advance to find those really good deals. Because if you go during the same month or the same week or just a week before that season, you will not be able to find it. Everything's gone. Everyone already went on the shipment days, everybody went 2 to 3 times a week, and they got all the wish list items. So make sure you go at least a month in advance to find those season items. Tip number 7 is walk through every aisle. I sometimes don't follow this rule, and then I go back and watch hauls, and I regret not going down that aisle. Like for instance, I don't have any kids, so I normally don't go through the toy section. But lately, they've been having a lot of really good things in the toy section. And for instance, this past week or 2 weeks ago, I had seen some hauls and they had shown some Star Wars playing cards. And me and my family love playing cards. And I regretted that because I've been to Dollar Tree several times, but I never go through the toy section. And so I missed it. And thankfully I did go as soon as I watched that haul, and I found the cards that I was looking for. So make sure you go through every single aisle in order to find all of those things. Tip number 8 is to be thorough. A lot of the times, people will just go through the aisles, which is I do sometimes. I'll just go and I don't find those items. And then later on I watch a haul, or I go back to the Dollar Tree and I find those items. What happens is that you may not be thorough enough. You need to make sure that you look at the end caps of the aisles. A lot of the times they have things there, or they have them laid out in different areas of the store. Sometimes they have things that aren't, like, I remember at one Dollar Tree, I found those playing cards that I was telling you about in a totally different section than the toy section. So you need to make sure you look at the end caps, look at the bottom, look everywhere. You need to make sure that you look all over the store to make sure you are able to find those wish list items that you are looking for. Tip number 9 is read your labels. A lot of times I've heard from people who don't really shop at Dollar Tree is that they see or they think that items at Dollar Tree are no good. You need, especially whenever you're buying food items, what you want to look for is expiration dates. Check when they expire. A lot of the times I haven't found anything that expires anytime soon, except for the bread. Sometimes the bread I have found that it's going to expire within that week. So I don't buy it if I'm not going to be able to eat it in a week. But in other items or other food items, the majority of the time the expiration date is good. But what you want to look for is, especially like in cleaning products, food, you want to look at the ingredients. Are there any harsh chemicals? Is there anything that you would not want to eat or have around you? Another tip that you can also look for is, where is it made? A lot of the times when I'm looking through like shampoos and hair products, I look for if they're made in the US. The US has, there are certain regulations, so I make sure that I find things that are made in the US to make sure that they're a good product. Tip number 10 is download your grocery shopping apps. I have the Walmart shopping app, and another local grocery store app. And what I do is that I go through my aisles, and if I find something that I like and that I want, and I'm not sure if it's a good deal or not, I just check my apps. You can check Amazon or the Walmart app, whatever. If your local grocery store has an app or a website, I would recommend just taking a quick minute and look up something similar or the same thing and see if they have those items cheaper. Sometimes the food is cheaper at your grocery store. So you just kind of have to know your prices. If you don't know prices and you're not good at that, just take the app with you. Take your phone, look on your app, take a few seconds just to look up the prices at other stores. Tip number 11 is, when in doubt, buy 2. Now the reason why I say this is because sometimes I'll like something and I'll just buy one just to go home and test it out. And if I like it, then I go back to the Dollar Tree and look for more, and it's gone. So I always say, when in doubt, buy 2. You can always go and return them. Going with that is my next tip, number 12, is keep your receipt. Now some Dollar Trees are a little bit strict and other ones are a little bit more lenient, but you want to make sure that if there's something that you bought that you need to return because you didn't like it or it didn't work out for you, or you bought too many, then you can always go back and return it, or I should say exchange. Now Dollar Tree, you cannot get your money back, but you can exchange it for something else. Now, one thing to remember is that if you're returning a food item, when you go back, you have to exchange it for another food item because they're not charging you the tax. That's here in Texas. I'm not sure in other places, but make sure that you're trading or you're exchanging food for food and then a different item for a different item. So make sure you keep your receipts. Some Dollar Trees will ask you, other won't. And one thing that I keep, and I bought it at Dollar Tree, is this receipt organizer. It's really easy. I just keep it in my car and I have my receipts in there. So whenever I need to return or exchange something, I have my receipts with me. So that's all I have for you guys. If you liked this, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe for more videos to come. Thank you for watching. Bye.